The jewels she commissioned, and the one she strangely never did. Did you know every British queen adds jewels to the royal collection during her reign? Just like Queen Mary, her legacy includes some of the most famous creations in the British royal collection: the Delhi Durbar Tiara, the Diamond Bandeau Tiara, and the Love Trophy Collar. Similarly, the Queen Mother personally commissioned her own coronation crown in 1937 by Garrard, along with the elegant lotus flower tiara and the radiant ruby and diamond flower brooches by Cartier. Every queen has added her personal touch to the royal vault, pieces that continue to leave the world's jewelers and collectors in absolute awe. And today, we step into that glittering legacy to unravel the masterpieces Queen Elizabeth II herself commissioned, jewels that defined her reign and gave the royal collection some of its most ravishing tiaras, exquisite brooches, and luminous necklaces ever created. Every gemstone she commissioned carries a story of heritage and emotion. Tonight, we uncover those stories, one jewel at a time. Queen's Burmese Ruby Tiara. It's the Burmese Ruby Tiara, designed by the Queen herself from a wedding gift of precise 96 Burmese rubies, believed to protect the wearer from the 96 evils and afflictions humans are prey to. The diamonds are from the Nizam of Hyderabad Tiara, made by Cartier in 1935. One she had dismantled to reuse the stones here, a decision that still rankles some jewellery purists. Ever wondered why she needed a ruby tiara so much that she chose to dismantle the Nizam of Hyderabad Tiara, such a beauty, just to create a new one? Maybe because the only ruby tiara in royal hands belonged to the Queen Mother, and it was the one piece Her Majesty never requested back. Since the Queen wanted to add a touch of colour to her collection, something to match her ruby necklaces, she knew the timing was right. She had 96 marvellous deep red rubies gifted by the people of Burma, who believed the stones offered protection from illness and misfortune. The House of Garrard received the commission in 1973 directly from the Queen. Crafted under her guidance, the Burmese Ruby Tiara features 5 ruby flower centres surrounded by diamond petals, inspired by the Tudor rose, a national emblem, and separated by intricate diamond sprays. All of this sits atop a single diamond row forming its base. From the 1990s to her Diamond Jubilee portrait, it remained one of her most loved and most personal jewels. Today, it continues to shine in public life, worn by Queen Consort Camilla and Princess Catherine, a sparkling reminder of Her Majesty's vision and taste. And one thing is certain, this tiara will not be hidden away in the vaults unlike Queen Mary. Its fairly modern design and craftsmanship ensure it will still be a showstopper in the time of Princess Charlotte, a jewel that bridges generations. Queen Belgian's Sapphire Tiara. The royal vault is overflowing with tiaras, each dazzling with gemstones of every kind, worn gracefully by the Queens of England through generations. But among them, hardly any sapphire tiara had ever made its way into the royal collection. Queen Elizabeth II truly felt the absence of one. With no sapphire tiara passed down directly through the line of succession, the void became all the more evident. Take, for instance, Queen Victoria's sapphire coronet, a masterpiece of the 19th century. After being passed through the royal line, it eventually went to Princess Mary, the Princess Royal, in 1922. But decades later, it was sadly sold in 2011 to pay inheritance taxes, leaving Queen Elizabeth without a sapphire heirloom to inherit. The realization struck deeply, especially knowing that other great royal houses boasted magnificent sapphire diadems, the Dutch sapphire tiara in the Netherlands, and Sweden's legendary Leuchtenberg sapphire tiara. Even the Queen Mother never owned a sapphire tiara of her own, so when the opportunity presented itself, the Queen seized it, to complete her sapphire parure of necklace and earrings, gifted by her father, King George VI, as a wedding present. And thus she commissioned one of her most personal and cherished creations, the Belgian Sapphire Tiara. This exquisite piece became a particular favourite of Her Majesty, and for good reason. It carried not just brilliance, but a story of scandal and reinvention. Originally a 19th century necklace, it once belonged to Princess Louise of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, née Princess Louise of Belgium, a royal known for her tumultuous life. Queen Elizabeth II acquired the necklace in 1963, reportedly buying it directly from the princess to help settle her debts. Upon acquisition, the Queen had it reworked into a tiara. A new frame was crafted featuring a striking central square-cut sapphire surrounded by an ornate arrangement of diamonds. A matching bracelet was also created from the remaining stones, completing the transformation. Her Majesty wore the Belgian Sapphire tiara beautifully, with her sapphire necklace and earrings on countless significant occasions, most notably during her 1965 state visit to Germany, and throughout the later decades of her reign. Today, this timeless piece remains part of the royal collection, seen on Queen Camilla. And still, one question glimmers quietly in the shadows of the royal vault. Why did the Queen never commission an emerald tiara with a story of its own? Greville, Emerald Kokoshnik Tiara, was never a royal jewel. Queen's Japanese Pearl Suite. The late Queen Elizabeth II had numerous sets of antique pearls in her jewellery collection, but this particular demi-parure stood out for its distinctly modern touch. Pearls had long been a royal tradition since the reign of Queen Victoria, but it was Queen Elizabeth who truly made them her own. The pearls in this set were reportedly a gift from the Japanese government, likely acquired during her state visit to Japan in the 1970s. As detailed in Garrard, the Crown Jewellers for 150 years, the Queen later commissioned this necklace from a selection of the finest cultured pearls presented to her by the Japanese government. The result was a 4-stranded pearl choker with a coordinating bracelet, both featuring exquisite diamond clasps. Some experts, like Leslie Field, have speculated that the necklace clasp was large enough to hold an additional strand of pearls, but the Queen never did. Curiously, Queen Elizabeth was not known for wearing many choker-style necklaces, making this Akoya pearl design particularly fascinating to royal watchers. The style, however, was favoured by Prince Philip, and soon it became part of her regular jewellery rotation. One of her most memorable appearances wearing it was during her visit to Bangladesh. Though she wore it with dignity, the piece never seemed to hold her heart. She later loaned it to Princess Diana, and after the Queen's passing, it is believed to have been a lifetime loan to Princess Catherine, never touched by the Queen Consort. Once a diplomatic treasure, transformed from a Queen's symbol of grace to a princess's emblem of mourning, a jewel that evolved over time. But one can't help but wonder, did the monarch who cherished pearls above all else never think to commission a pearl tiara of her own? Queen's Williamson Pink Diamond Brooch. The very first brooch Queen Elizabeth II commissioned after her accession to the throne in 1952 carries a story as rare as the gem itself. Among her wedding gifts was a remarkable 54-carat rough pink diamond, the largest and most flawless of its kind, presented by Canadian geologist and devoted royalist Dr. John Thorburn Williamson. In 1953, Cartier London crafted the masterpiece, a delicate jonquil flower rendered in platinum and diamonds, with the magnificent Williamson pink diamond at its heart, surrounded by smaller stones also gifted by Dr. Williamson. The result was a jewel of exceptional beauty and sentiment, one of Her Majesty's most valued treasures, worn only on the most significant occasions, often weddings, and never loaned to another royal during her lifetime. Today, valued at £25 million, the Williamson brooch stands as the second most precious brooch in the late Queen's collection, surpassed only by the legendary Cullinan 3 and 4 brooch, itself worth an astonishing £50 million. After Queen Elizabeth's passing, the brooch was seen once more, gracing the Queen Consort in 2024, a silent reminder of a monarch's enduring elegance and the first jewel she ever commissioned for herself. Such a treasure she gave to the royal vault. Queen Three-stranded Pearl Necklace. Queen Elizabeth was often seen wearing her signature 3-strand pearl necklaces, an accessory that became synonymous with her regal style throughout her 70-year reign. Among them, 3 held exceptional significance. One was a cherished gift from her father, King George VI, marking his silver jubilee in 1935. Another came as a coronation present in 1953 from the Emir of Qatar, but the one most closely tied to the Queen herself was the necklace she personally commissioned shortly after her accession to the throne in 1952, a piece she would treasure for the rest of her life. As royal historian Leslie Field described, The 1935 necklace was composed of uniformly sized pearls placed closely together, while the Emir of Qatar's gift reflected a distinctively Eastern style with generous spacing between the pearls, a nod to Asian and Mughal aesthetics. The Queen, deeply sentimental about her father's pearls, reserved them for only the most meaningful occasions. To preserve the original, she decided to create another three-strand pearl necklace, this time using graduated pearls from the royal collection, secured by a refined diamond clasp. The design subtly echoed a Riviere necklace, smaller pearls near the clasp and larger ones at the centre, giving the piece a natural flow and grace. Its diamond clasp, 3 rows mirroring the necklace's triple strands, completed the timeless elegance. Throughout her reign, the Queen wore this particular necklace on countless occasions, from royal tours to official portraits. During her 1986 visit to Australia, it shone beautifully against her pastel attire, understated yet unmistakably regal. Touchingly, it was this very necklace the Queen wore at Balmoral Castle when she appointed Prime Minister Liz Truss, just 2 days before her passing. A jewel she commissioned for herself, worn for 70 years with love and devotion, it embodied both her constancy and grace. Brazilian Aquamarine Tiara. Among the many dazzling creations Garrard has crafted for the British royal family, few radiate the same commanding beauty as Queen Elizabeth II's Brazilian Aquamarine Tiara, a jewel that was not inherited or gifted in full, but lovingly commissioned by the Queen herself. The story began in 1953, when the President of Brazil presented the newly crowned Queen with an aquamarine necklace and matching earrings on behalf of the Brazilian people. Created by Mappin and Webb in Rio de Janeiro, the necklace has a spectacular pendant drop at its centre. The Queen adored the set so much that just 4 years later, in 1957, she personally turned to Garrard to commission a tiara to complement it, a creation designed exclusively for her own use. The original tiara featured a platinum bandeau topped with 3 striking rectangular aquamarines, stones that could be detached and worn as brooches. Brazil's generosity didn't stop there. In 1958, the Queen received an aquamarine bracelet and brooch, and a decade later, during her first state visit to Brazil in 1968, the governor of São Paulo presented her with aquamarine and diamond hair ornaments. In 1971, Queen Elizabeth had Garrard reimagine the tiara, transforming it into an even grander design. 4 fan-shaped elements, believed to be crafted from the São Paulo hair ornaments, were added, and the large aquamarine pendant from the original necklace was moved to crown the tiara's centre, while the former central stone of the tiara was elegantly adapted to hang from the necklace instead. The Queen ensured that every new aquamarine matched the original stones perfectly, a process that reportedly took over a year. Unlike most of her jewels, which carried family legacy or royal history, this tiara was her own creation, a statement of personal taste. The last time the Queen was seen wearing the Brazilian Aquamarine Tiara was at the Spanish State Banquet in 2017, where its pale blue fire caught the light of Buckingham Palace one last time. To this day, it has not been worn by Queen Consort and during her lifetime never shared with anyone. Queen's 5 Aquamarine Tiara. Not every royal jewel has a clear beginning, and this is one of them. Somewhere between official commissions and quiet royal decisions, a second aquamarine tiara appeared, mysteriously, beautifully, and almost without explanation. Its provenance remains uncertain, but clues trace it back to the late 1960s, the same years surrounding Queen Elizabeth II's first state visit to Brazil in 1968, when the governor of São Paulo famously presented her with aquamarine and diamond hair ornaments. How many of these ornaments were given, or in what designs, no one truly knows. Yet, while some of the pieces were adapted into her grand Brazilian aquamarine tiara, it is widely believed that the Queen may have commissioned Garrard to create a smaller companion tiara, using the remaining stones. This lesser-known tiara, composed of 5 luminous aquamarines, set within delicate diamond scrolls resembling ribbons of light, first appeared in 1970, a fleeting debut during the Queen's visit to Canada. Then, as quietly as it arrived, it vanished from public view, slipping into the shadows of the royal vault. For decades it was whispered that the tiara had been dismantled, until 2012, when it re-emerged on the Countess of Wessex at the pre-wedding gala of the hereditary Grand Duke of Luxembourg. Since then, the tiara has graced several notable occasions and most recently, the diplomatic reception at Buckingham Palace, worn by Queen Camilla. Simple, refined, and kissed by the pale blue of Brazilian seas, it remains one of the most elegant aquamarine jewels ever designed, and one of the few whose story the Queen never told. And still, among her many commissions, sapphires, rubies, diamonds, and aquamarines, one question lingers in the silence of the vault. Why did she never create an emerald tiara of her own? That's all for tonight. Tell us, which of Her Majesty's timeless jewels do you think shines brightest for the queens of the future? And what are your thoughts on the missing emerald tiara? Share them in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more royal stories reimagined.